Welcome back. If you haven't watched part 1, you can find it on the channel now. Otherwise, please enjoy part 2. However, rule number 2, do not overstack the bags. So even if you mix several bricks in one bag, you need to leave it about half empty or at least a quarter empty. Because whenever you have mixed bricks in the bag, the person at the counter will want to reach into the bag to check that none of the bricks are hiding a bigger piece, which is priced per piece and not per 100 grams. For example, animals such as orcas or horses or any other animals which are available for you to grab from the bins. Before we move on to number 3, I just want to make a quick pause here to mention that the animation has the wrong number of islands on here. So there's actually 9 islands. There's 8 which are approximately spaced like you see them on the animation, but then there's a 9th one behind them with transparent pieces. Moving on to rule number 3, don't ziplock the bags unless if you have only a single type of piece in them. Because as soon as there are multiple pieces in the bag, the cashiers are going to want to check out that everything is in order. Rule number 4, make sure to keep the types of pieces separate. And by types, I really just mean that there are pieces in the factory which are sold by weight, and then there are bricks in the factory which are sold by piece. Make sure that the bricks which are sold by piece are not mixed in with the bricks that are sold by weight. If you stick to these rules, the cashiers are gonna be and so will you, because the checkout is going to be faster. This next one isn't a tip, but it's a bit of news. On my trip, I met a guy who was in Billund just 3 days before he came to LEGOLAND, Germany. And he said that the rumors are true and that the amazing selection of bricks that once was at Billund is now no more. But I wasn't there for sure, so I can't know for sure either. Another tip that has to do with the bricks is the following. When I was there, someone was looking for 2x4 tiles in dark gray, and the factory ran out of them. So I suggested they just take the 2x4 printed tiles and erase them. And this is something you can do too. If they only have the printed tile of what you need, there's still an option of erasing the prints from them. It's not the best solution, but if the bricks are nowhere to be found, then it's definitely better than no solution. A tip you probably know about is to bring another person with you to the Lego factory store, because that way you're gonna be able to get more of the same type of brick. So for example, if you need more than 100 grams of a certain brick, if you bring more people, then you're gonna be able to buy more than 100 grams, providing that the other people don't buy the same pieces. If you're going shopping alone, here's another tip. If you only buy one piece in a quantity that is more than 100 grams, and if you make sure that your bags are packed nicely, the cashiers will probably let you go off with more than 100 grams of a certain piece. For example, I was able to take out 170 grams of a piece I really liked, but that was because I kept well under the limits for all other pieces. Next tip has to do with base plates. I heard from another YouTuber that the factory sometimes has plates which would usually not be on sale, like they might have red or yellow base plates. Even though they didn't have those on the day that I visited, they did have dark blue base plates, which Lego calls earth blue base plates. So I did still find something rare at the factory, but it's not super rare because obviously they were used for the lighthouse set, and I think there was another set they used them for. Next tip has to do with the time of your visit. Now, obviously, you might not necessarily be able to choose exactly when you visit Legoland, but if at all possible, I would recommend you choose to visit at the start of the season, which is April, May, or June, because that's usually when they have most bricks in stock and on the shelves. After those dates, the bricks are slowly going to start to disappear from the shelves. And of course, they're going to be replaced by other bricks, but the odds of you getting most bang for your buck is basically at the start of the season. Obviously, if you can, you should probably visit twice a year just in case. But most of us probably don't have this luxury, so we make do with what we can. Another recommendation is that you should visit during the week instead of on the weekends, because obviously there aren't going to be as many people there as there would be on the weekend. So you're going to have much more space for yourself and much more time for proper planning and selection of bricks. Let me make a quick interruption here just to reiterate. There are 9 islands here and not 6, and there's actually an island behind the one labeled 6D. So instead of 2, there's actually 3 rows of islands back there. Okay, now let's go back to what I was saying about when to travel to Legoland. Don't forget to look up German holidays, because obviously Legoland is going to be much busier during the holidays. And basically, if I were you, I would also look up holidays of neighboring countries, because obviously holiday time is when everyone travels to Legoland. So if you want to avoid peak season rush and too many crowds, then planning your trip is definitely worth it. As for the time of day, I recommend that you go in the morning, especially if you're going to be buying a lot of pieces in bulk, because going in the morning ensures that there's not so many crowds on site and you have the whole day in front of you, which means that you have enough time to not rush through the store. This brings me to my next tip, which is don't rush. You are going to do yourself a favor by not rushing to get things done. Looking back at all of these bricks, I can't believe how many of them I missed, just because I felt like I've been in the store for so long that I just need to get out. So what I really recommend is you have a really good breakfast so that you're not hungry for the next 3, 4, or even 5 hours. You go straight to the factory store and start shopping. Maybe you even bring a snack with you, but obviously something that's not messy. And then you do your bulk buy, and they do also have snacks at the exit, and there is an Asian restaurant in front of the factory, if I remember correctly. Before the end of the video, I also want to say that I did visit the minifigure store, but I didn't take any photos and won't be making a video about it. I'm not really a minifigure fan, so I couldn't really tell you whether the minifigures they have are super awesome or not. So I just decided not to comment on the part of Legoland that I know nothing about. That said, the factory store does sell minifigures too, but as you'll see, their torsos are white and they're not my favorite, so if I were you, I would go to the minifigure store and buy my colorful torsos there. And any kind of torso which is white in the back can get a laser engraving. And at the minifigure store, they do have these really cool I Love Lego shirts on torsos that can get an engraving in the back. Also, it's worth checking with the staff how many bricks you can buy if you want to buy more of them, because if I understood them correctly at the checkout, I could have actually bought more of a certain piece in the same color. They don't necessarily mind, but it also depends on the piece. So, for example, I think they are more lenient with the basic bricks, but not as much with specialty bricks. But that is something that you could definitely check when you're there. I think that I probably would have bought a few more pieces if I had checked and known that before going to the checkout. And to be honest, this is a good rule for life as well. Whenever you're not sure, check with others, because if you don't ask, you don't get. Since we've reached photos with animals and other big pieces, I would just like to reiterate that these do have to go in a separate bag because the staff will want to check out how many pieces you got, because obviously the prices are per piece and not per 100 grams, so you do need to be very vigilant about that. And also for pieces like horses or deer, which are usually missing that little piece in the middle, you are entitled to a brick and a tile that go on top of the back of the animal. And the staff at the checkout usually give them to you when they're going through all of your bags. But what happened with me was apparently we were too chatty, and as we were talking, the staff member forgot to put one of those pieces into my deer. So now I will need to provide those myself, which is obviously not a big deal at all, but you can at least learn from my mistakes and make sure that you get those pieces for every animal that you're buying. That said, I've had nothing but great experiences with all of the staff there. Nobody was rude at all. Everyone was super friendly. And I think that if you're kind, then kindness is what you're gonna get in return. As long as you are mindful of the fact that LEGO wants as many customers as possible to experience the variety of the bricks they have on offer and not just have them be bought by one person, you should be fine. And rules are there for a reason. If you've made it this far and can totally think of tips and tricks that I've missed, please let us all know in the comments. I'm sure everybody's gonna be grateful just to get more info. And for the end of the video, for those of you who are interested, I made a very rough count of how many individual pieces the store offers, and I came up to a number of over 1,200 pieces. If anyone has the time and the willpower to count them all, feel free to mention the exact number in the comments. And I suspect it's probably gonna be actually over 1,300 pieces, but 1,200 pieces is a number I'm comfortable claiming is in these photos. This last part is about animals from displays. They have two displays which, from what I saw, are identical, so I only posted photos of one display. And they have animals, light bricks, and various other parts in them. And on the photo on the right there, you can see the exit, so I just wanted to show you that as well. And they have minifigures near the exit. After visiting the factory, I also made my way around Legoland and got to see Lego Neuschwanstein Castle, whose name I'm able to pronounce now thanks to my German friends. And then I also made my way to the minifigure store, and I already spoke a little bit about that. And then obviously I made my way back towards the exit, and I also wanted to let you know where the boutique is. So it's here. And the boutique is also a place where you get the 25% discount. And then I also wanted to show you where other shops are, so I circled them in white. Thank you for sticking with me until the end, and I'll see you next time.